All right, so we're looking at the notes of 6.8 fundamental theorem of algebra. I make a rule that I try not to lecture for more than 15 minutes because I think after 15 minutes it's hard for you to pay attention. I am going to annihilate that rule maybe by 3 times as much, which means I'm going to talk for about how long? 45 minutes. Dear God. Okay. So these are really long notes, and I'm apologizing in advance. So thank you for being so gracious. Cell phones should be bye-bye. The fundamental theorem of algebra. It basically says that the highest power tells you how many roots you have. Okay? So you know another term for highest power? We've talked about it. So our degree, which means our highest power, means number of zeros. And this is going to make more sense as we do some problems. But that's what the theorem says. If you have x to the 5th, you okay? Okay. If you have x to the 5th, then somewhere in the problem, that's the highest power. That means you're going to have 5 roots, 5 zeros. Okay? The second thing I say here is, what is a root? What is a 0? And what does it mean to equal 0? What is a root? Okay. Yeah, I like that. So root is like the beginning. Okay. What's a 0? If we think of it in terms of a graph, a 0 is our x-axis. Okay. So you don't have to draw this. But this is a 0. This is a 0, and that's a 0. Okay. Now here's the thing. Saying let's set it equal to 0. A 0 and a root are all the same thing. So if I say find its roots, it means find its zeros. If I say find its zeros, it means find its roots. All the 3 of those things I might say at different times, and they all mean the same thing. So these are all the same is what I wanted to make sure. So if I say roots, you know what I'm talking about. If I say zeros, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. It basically means take your equation and set it equal to 0. Okay? The fundamental theorem of algebra. You know what fundamental means? Basic. Okay. It has more power, but you're right. It's like basically this is the most important thing. Okay. So you should have this. Somebody tell me the degree of this problem. 5. That means when I'm done, because it asked me to find roots, how many roots am I going to have? 5. Okay? If I give you 4 answers on this, I'm not done. If I give you 2, I'm not done. Okay? I should give you 5. And basically, what these problems do is they say, do all the work you can to find all 5. These problems take about 15 minutes each. Okay? The next test we take, I can't remember if it has 1 or 2 problems on it. That's it. Okay? You ready? Okay. Our goal is to find all of the roots, all the zeros. If I go back to this previous slide, I'm asking for all of these points. Okay? So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm going to type this in and see if I can find my roots that way. If all 5 roots show up on the calculator, boom, I'm done. Okay? So if I go to my calculator here, I'm going to go to my y equals. I'm going to clear out my y1, and I'm going to type in my equation there. 2x to the 5th. Oh, dear God, what's going on? 2x to the 5th minus 26x, dear God, 2x to the fifth, 2x to the fifth, minus 26x to the fourth, plus 85x to the third, so I keep my fingers crossed, and I'm going to hit graph. I noticed some people last time when we did the graphing thing on Monday, people said, my graph looks really weird. And this one clearly is weird because I'm zoomed in weird, okay? So if my graph is this square and I'm zoomed in on this weird square in the corner, that's not good. So I like to hit zoom button and then 6. And if we all do this, then we're all going to be looking at the exact same graph. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope that all 5 roots show up. Zoom, which is right in the middle, right here. Okay. Hit zoom, and then 6, which is standard. And from Monday's notes, we should have seen that little yellow thing. When that's gone, that means it's done thinking. How many roots do you see here? I see 3. I was really hoping for 5, but I see 3, so I'm going to take it. This is the easiest way to find roots is through the calculator. So I'm going to hit second calc intersect. Okay, and we've done this. And I'm going to hit enter until where it says in the bottom right hand or left hand corner until that says intersect. And there's one of my answers. X equals -2 is one of my answers. I'm going to do it again. Second calc intersect. But before I hit enter 3 times, I'm going to get my little cursor next to one of these other points. Is there a question back there? I'll hit enter 3 times until it says intersection. What are we struggling with? You haven't enter enough until that says intersection. Just slow it down. So enter. Oh, it's because you don't have a second. So on the, you got to go y equals. When we do our y equals, we need to have our second equation be 0. Okay, if it's not, when it asks you what's your second equation, you don't have one. So I got x equals 6. There's another one of my solutions. And then I do it again, second calc intersect. I got to get my cursor next to the last one here and hit enter until it says intersect. X equals 7. Any questions about that? Okay, hold on one second. I'm going to show you. So this is, I keep seeing this same error, is that people have this equation in, life's good, but you have to have 0 in the second equation. Okay, if you don't have 0 in there, when you ask for it to intersect, it's like intersect with what? You didn't give it its second equation. Is that what does that help you? Okay. So we got to be able to find those 3 zeros. This is what the Monday notes was about. Did we do those? Kind of guessing some of us maybe didn't get to that yet. So the calculator, or the Yeah, the calculator gives us those first 3 roots. Thank you, calculator. If it had given us all 5, like I said, we'd be done. Okay. If you're struggling with that, after notes or on the next problem, I'll go a little slower on that part. Okay. So now that we know those, we are going to, we got to pull those answers out. We got to rip them out of the equation. Anyone want to guess how we rip those out of the equation? Okay. It's not based on the graph. How can we pull something out of an equation? Long division. Okay. So here, this is where this gets interesting. How many roots did we just find? So we're going to have to divide 3 times. Do we know what that means? How many problems was on that first worksheet yesterday? 4. We're going to have to do 3 divisions in this one problem. So if we look at this, I want to translate these into their parentheses. What would this parenthesis translate to? The first one here. Close. Not x minus 2. Because it's a 0, it translates to x plus 2. What does the second one translate to? X minus 6 and x minus 7. So just so we're clear, the red is the answer, but the blue is what we have to pull out. So let's start with x plus 2. I'm going to divide by x plus 2. This is what we did yesterday. I'm going to times by x plus 2. And then I'm working with 2x to the 5th minus 26x to the 4th plus 85x to the 3rd plus 5x squared minus 192 plus 756. Yesterday, I did not do this for this class, but I did for the other ones. I said, let's go ahead and draw lines down here because people were confused. And I think it helps us to keep us a little organized. I expect all the division to go in the first box, all the times to go in the second box, and all that other work to go in the third. Some people were trying to put stuff all over the page and then they'd get lost. The other thing I didn't do yesterday is we're going to actually do the division in the first box. So x plus 2, I don't care about my little brother, the 2, so I cross out that 2. And this becomes a yesterday problem. So I go up. Did I talk about dates in here? Okay. So I go up, and the first person I can find to go on a date with me is right there. So I say 2x to the 5th divided by x. I didn't do this with you guys yesterday. We talked about it, but we didn't write it down. What does that equal? 2x to the 4. Yesterday, I would just have you write 2x to the 4, but some people like that visualization of me writing it down. So then I times that by x plus 2. So that gives me 2x to the 5th plus 4x to the 4th. Help me, don't let me make any mistakes, okay? These are long enough that if I make a mistake, then I have to start over, okay? If we know that it's a perfect root, when I'm done, what's my remainder going to be? It's got to be 0. Okay? If my remainder is not 0, then I have to erase all my work and start over. So check me. If I make a mistake, don't be nice and say, you know, I don't want to tell him he's wrong. Okay, so I switch my signs here because this is what I'm pulling out. So I get 0, negative 30x to the 4th, and I got to bring down a date for my little brother. So I bring down the next thing. Okay? Some people say you got to bring down everything. I always just bring down one thing for my brother. How many things would I have to bring down if I had two little brothers? Two, right? I need one for every part that I have. So I start over. I want to go on a date. I'm trying to be quiet. I go on a date. Who am I going to go on a date with? Negative 30x. So I start over. Negative 30x to the fourth divided by x is negative 30x to the third. Times that by x plus 2. I distribute that in, and I get negative 30x to the fourth minus 60x to the third. Okay, switch signs. This gives me 0. 85x to the third plus 60x to the third. Say again. 145x to the third. Bring down the next thing. Plus 5x squared. Start over. Okay, what am I going to put over here on the left? Good. 145x to the third divided by x equals 145x squared. Distribute that in. I get 145x to the third plus 290. So 290x squared. Switch the signs. I get 0 and negative 285x squared. Bring down the next one. Minus 192. Go again. The 290, I switched, it was a positive, but then I had to switch the sign. So it wasn't super clear, but that's a negative right there. That switching the sign thing can make you crazy, right? Because you're like, did I switch it? Did I not switch it? Okay. Oh, there's an X in there. Thank you. So that should have been X. It won't work out without it. I forgot it. It was up there, though. Start over. Negative 285 x to the second divided by x. And some of you can get away without writing that first thing in the divide, and that's what we did yesterday. If you feel comfortable without it and you're getting the right answers, it's fine. If you can create your own shortcuts with these, that's awesome, as long as you're getting the right answer. So I say, let's go to the mall. You say, I know a shortcut, and do you end up at Westland Mall? I said, that wasn't the right shortcut. Okay. So then we get negative, we distribute this in, negative 285x squared. Help me out here, 570. Yeah, thank you. Negative 570 x. Switch the signs. Negative 192x plus 570. 370. 378 x. Bring down the next thing. 756. I'm gonna be a bad teacher for a minute and just kind of cram stuff in here. Are we okay with that? You know what to write. So we start over. You're used to bad teachers, that you're saying. 378x divided by x equals 378 times x plus 2 gives me 378 x plus 756. Okay. I wish I could hit a button and move everything up, but I can't. Switch the signs, and what happens there? We get 0, 0. If we do not get 0, 0, then I have to erase all this and start over. Or try to find my answer or my mistake, which I promise you, you won't find. Okay, so on the test, you'll hear people go, yes, 0, 0. And you'll hear people go, crap, 5. Right? And that means, say again? What about the remainder? What did you say? These ones, because we found that those are roots, should work out perfectly. So what I'm saying is, if you get a remainder, then you made a mistake. That's why you say you get a remainder. Goes, oh man, okay. And there'll be people taking the test and say, I got a remainder. What do I do? I say, I don't know. Erase. I don't know. Okay. You're gonna say you're gonna bring in a homework assignment and go, I got a remainder on this, and I'm gonna go, I can't find your mistake. It's so hard. So you just erase and have to start over. Okay. These will make you crazy. Was there a hand here? So, like, what do we do next? It's equal to 0. So we are 1/3 of the way done with this problem. Okay? I said we're going to divide out how many things? 3. How many have we divided out? 1. So now we got to do this 2 more times. Here's a big mistake that a lot of people make, and I want everyone to hear this. We are now going to divide out x minus 6 from, and this is a mistake that people make that causes them to have to do 10 times more work. We want to divide that out of the answer to the problem we just did. Okay? So we're going to divide that out of this. Our answer is sitting right here. Okay? So help me out here. I'm going to create a new page or go to the next page. Okay? So tell me what did I just circle there? 2x to the 4th. 30x to the 3rd. Say again, I can't hear you. Okay? So that's what I want to divide. And what did I say was it x plus 6? X minus 6. So I'm dividing x minus 6. So then I write times x minus 6. Make my 3 category or 3 box columns. And now we do this one. You don't have room. I know, these are crazy, aren't they? I don't know that we're going to do number 2. I don't think we'll get to it. So if you want to cross out number 2 and use that space, that's fine. I think when we were at these notes, we thought we could get through 3 problems, and we realized that was crazy. I know. What's up with that? All right, so I'm going to cross out my little brother at the divide. I don't care about him until I get to the movie and I actually have to pay. I go 2x to the 4th over x equals 2x to the 3rd. I want to kind of start speeding up on these, so you got to slow me down if you're confused or have a question. So we learned long division yesterday, and today I'm kind of going, now that you've mastered long division, okay, hopefully we feel super comfortable with it at this point. X minus 6 goes here. We're going to times that in. I get 2x to the 4th minus 12x to the 3rd. switch its signs. I get 0 and negative 18. Is that right? Bring down something else. 145x squared. Start over. Negative 18 x to the third divided by x is negative 18x squared times x minus 6 gives me negative 18x to the third. I don't think 108 plus 108 x squared. Switch the signs. Again, that's why I like to use a different color for switching signs, because then I know that I switched the signs, but I don't know how many of you carry 2 writing utensils with you. So that gives me 30, what is that? 30 what? 7. 37 x squared, bring down the next thing. Am I going too fast? I am. Pause. Tell me when to continue. Fundamental theorem algebra. You ever heard that song? It's because it doesn't exist. Right, Mr. Hermits? You ever heard that song?
Yeah, I heard it.
Oh, yeah? Who sings that song? Miss McConnell. Isn't that nice of Mr. Hermits to let me lecture for a couple days? I was getting rusty. So call me out of the bullpen, coach. We ready? Okay. So then we go again. 37x squared over x equals 37x. Get 37x squared. 42, 18, 2, 42, 222. Negative 222. Switch signs. Get 0. 63, negative. Is that right? Can someone confirm that for me? That was 63? Okay. Again, if I make a mistake, here's the thing. If I make a mistake on this part, I don't have to erase the last division because I knew that worked out. I just have to erase this whole screen. That's it. Okay? But don't do the third one, get it wrong, and then erase the whole page. No, it's just up to where you got 0, 0 last. And then negative 63 x divided by x is negative 63. X minus 6. So I get negative 63x. Negative 63 times negative 6 is 378. This is the part on the test where I go, yes, 0, 0. Switch the signs. I get 0, 0. The funny thing is when I see students get it wrong, and all of a sudden they just write 0, 0. They're like, I'll just put 0, 0, and that must make it right. Okay? But it doesn't. Okay? So then I do it again. Okay? So I'm going to go back and look at the previous slide because now I'm going to divide out what? X minus 7 out of the answer of the second one. Okay, so I need another slide. Kidding, not going to do you. So I'm going to divide x minus 7 times x. I'm sorry? I don't think so. You need the space, is that what you're saying? Yeah, yeah, you'll see. I know. No, there's more. Yes.
It's gonna take like 7 pages. Could you fast forward to the end?
No, I can't. How? I can't skip any parts.
Oh my gosh,
I'll tell you in a second. That's awesome. Some of you are good. Some of you are moving faster than I am. Help me out. What's right here? And just so we're clear, that came from the answer of the last one. That was this right here. Okay. And honestly, these get quicker as you do them, right? The first one we had to do 5 divisions out. The second one we had to do 4. This one we just have to do 3. Okay. So are we feeling pretty good about long division at this point? That's awesome. So 2x to the third over x. I don't care about my little brother, just the x, and I get 2x squared. Distribute that in, I get 2. I'm writing way too big. 2x to the third minus 14x squared. Switch my signs. I get 0 and negative 4x to 4x squared. Bring down the next thing. Please make sure I don't make any mistakes. I don't have to erase. Negative 4x squared divided by x is negative 4x. Distribute that in. Negative 4x squared plus 28x. Switch signs. Hi. Yeah. You ever heard the song Fundamental Theorem of Algebra? No. It's because it doesn't. Yeah, I'm the one who wrote it. Yeah. Thank you. 0, 37 minus 28, 9. 9x. Bring down the next thing. Am I going too fast? 9x divided by x. I heard you say yes. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just. We get 9x minus 63. And we always say yes, 0, 0, right? And so you say yes, 0, 0. Yes, 0, 0. Anybody? No. We are 2/3 of the way done. Let me know when I can leave this page because I need more space. Well, not everyone is there.
Can we cross out the third one too because I don't have it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's almost totally. Oh my gosh, wait, if we do these other 2 questions, we get
Maybe.
Yeah, you should do that. I'll enjoy doing this.
I think yeah, maybe. That's. Are you ready? All right, so the answer to this, we now have to work with. Okay, so we get 2x squared minus, what was it, minus 4. How can I find the zeros of that? We could factor, but I'm going to tell you, you can't factor because if we could have factored, it would have shown up on the graph. We're going to beat this thing up to give us the 2 other answers. We're looking for the roots. So that means we're already saying it equals 0. Okay? But yeah, that's a good point. We're saying this thing equals 0. How do we solve this thing? In some ways, in my brain, I think everybody should go, oh, you just quadratic formula. Sure, it's a quadratic. X squared makes it a quadratic. Okay? So we did all that to now do the quadratic formula. Do you remember the quadratic formula? Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So let's try it. X equals negative 4. So I change that to a positive. Plus or minus square root of negative 4 squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I don't ever expect you to have that memorized. I don't ask that, but I think I ask you to use it so much that it's, you know it, maybe. So there was a lot of confusion on the last test of what I would want you to do next. I see 3 parts to this problem. Okay? I see the 4. I want to simplify this, and I don't want to write plus 4. We don't write plus 4. We just say 4. How old are you? I'm plus 42 years old. Okay? No, you're not negative, right? So you just say 4. I don't say 2 and 2 on the bottom. I want that to just say 4 as well. Plus or minus. The discriminant is the number under the square root. Please type this whole thing in the calculator. Everyone try this. The whole thing in there. And I hear negative 56. Do you get negative 56? If you don't, then you need to ask questions about that before you retake this test. The solving quadratics test is going to be easy after we learn all this stuff. Okay, did we get negative 56? Okay, if this was last test, then we would pull this out to the side, and I would say, what is negative 56? And I'd start breaking this down. 56 divided by 2 is, help me out here, what is it? 28. 28 divided by 2 is 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. I can't divide 7 down. I'm looking for groups of 2. I have one group of 2, and I have 2 things left over. A group comes out as one thing. Okay? A group comes out as one thing. So this means that this is 2 radical 14. Because it was negative, the negative comes out as an I. Okay, so that I did that work to replace this square root of negative 56 over here. So that means that this thing equals x equals 4 plus or minus 2 square root of, or 2i square root of 14 all over 4. We can simplify this down. You can't mess with the square root, but you can mess with the number in front. What number can I divide all 3 of these numbers by? So you got to divide those all by 2 if there's a number in common. So I get 2 plus or minus 1i square root of 14. Again, you don't mess with the square root over 2. I said that the fundamental theorem of algebra said that this problem would have how many answers? 5. No, this is not one of them. This is 2 of them. Okay? So the plus or minus. So I'm going to go back. I wish I could have this all on one page like you do. Can I go back?
I do.
Good. I go back and I can say that my answers, I got 5 of them. X equals negative 2, x equals 6, x equals 7, x equals, I don't even have room on here to write it. X equals, help me out here, I don't know what I had on that one. 2 plus 1i square root of 14 all over 2. There's one answer. And then my last answer is x equals 2 minus 1i square root of 14 over 2. How many answers do I have? 5. Let me tell you why 2 of those answers have I in it. If they didn't have I, where would we have seen them? They would have been on the graph. Okay? So we said, oh, there are 3 real, and then we fight. Fundamental theorem of algebra says there's got to be 5, so we beat it up to find the other 2. If you get everything else done in the packet, like by Monday, you have everything else done in the packet. You want to go back and do those 2 note problems, I'll give you extra credit for doing those. Okay? But I don't want to give you extra credit if you don't finish everything else. You now have everything you need for the week to do the rest of the packet. Okay? Tomorrow's our only work day. Everything's due on Monday. We're testing over the fundamental theorem of algebra next week. I think it's like on Tuesday. Huh? Wait, how? Yeah, but he hasn't finished that yet. And he doesn't know what he's doing. Yes. Is it Wednesday?